Hi everyone, it's Monday the 20th of April, and I'm guessing that by now some of you are pulling your hair out with trying the first day of home learning. Look, first of all, just a brief update on where we are in terms of nationally and in Queensland. So look, generally excellent progress still being made across Australia with the flattening of that curve. Queensland in particular is doing really well. I understand that there were no new cases overnight. And some of you may be already thinking, well, doesn't that mean that we can go back to normal? And the answer is no. As you listen to all of the experts and all of the people across the country in terms of our state and federal leaders, nobody wants to be locked down. Nobody wants these restrictions in place. And basically the only reason they're still there is because they're deemed to be absolutely necessary from a health perspective. So we need to continue following that health advice, because it's the advice that has got us to this point where we are probably the best country in the world in terms of position of lifting restrictions. So we need to follow the advice which has got us to this point to make sure that we don't end up having the second and third wave of this occurring and then us having ongoing problems for a much longer period. So hang in there, folks. Everyone's done a great job to date, and we just need to hang in there for a bit longer. In terms of restrictions being eased, what the government is saying is there are three key things that need to happen. So the first one is there needs to be more extensive testing. So the first thing that you'll probably hear about in the news is the ramping up of actually testing that's happening around the country. The second thing is we need to look at technology in terms of identifying and tracking where outbreaks are occurring. This is a bit controversial. This is about the app that's being talked about, that's being launched soon, which tracks your connection to other people. So one thing that needs to be clarified is this app is not meant to track your movements or where you are going. It is simply meant to track which phone your phone has come close to. And in that way, if, for example, you are standing in line at a supermarket and someone, maybe, two customers behind you ends up having a positive test for COVID-19, then what that app enables is it will enable someone to contact you to say maybe you should get tested because you were in close proximity to someone else who had COVID-19. If we don't have the app, what it means that people have to go through and ask people who test positive, where did you go? Who did you stand next to? And now that's next to impossible to remember everywhere you've been, all the people you were close to. So look, I know there's different opinions on the app. I'm not telling you to go one way or the other. I'll download the app because I think the sooner we can lift these restrictions for everyone, the better. But again, listen to the details that come out on the various media outlets about that. The last component, remember I said there's three key things that need to happen is what the government is saying. The last one is when an outbreak does occur and that there needs to be a lockdown and a local response. So for example, in Tasmania, where there was a breakout in a town there at the hospital and the hospital was closed, there needs to be plans to contain an outbreak in a localised response when that occurs. So those three things basically, more extensive testing, better tracking, and localised responses. So that's what's going to get us out of this and hopefully slowly getting back to our previous way of life. Now, previous way of life doesn't mean straight away. Even when we're talking about going back, it's a long path back. It will be a gradual and staged lifting of restrictions that will occur. In relation to home learning, look, I think Tallawong State School is well placed. The home learning packs which we sent home did have a lot of the work there that you can do without going online, which means that on the news today you probably hear a lot about systems crashing, people not able to access the internet and not able to do some of the work that was sent home. In terms of how our school has responded, I guess one thing was we were anticipating that there may be some issues in connectivity, in terms of speed, and also in terms of the volume of traffic going to websites, which might have led to some of the crashes that happened today. So to address that, we tried to have our home learning packs set up in such a way that you could continue some work regardless of whether you had the internet or not. And tomorrow, in tomorrow's update, I'll give you our web address for home learning, which has less traffic because it's specifically designed for Tallawong State School, which means we're not competing with everybody else for the resources that are going to be placed there. So look, I think that you will have less issues once our website is up there and you're going directly to that. You will need a password to access it, obviously, but again, we will send that out to you tomorrow. In terms of how your day went today, look, I hope you had a good day. Some of you may be concerned and frustrated. You've got the home learning packs and you're trying to get through a heap of work. As I said all along, don't panic. We don't need to do all the work all in one day. You don't need to have the same routine every day either. You can plan to have a routine, but as I suggested in the Facebook post on Friday, I think it was, is have a daily meeting, a family meeting, and just say, okay, how did you go today? What worked? What didn't work? How much time can we spend on it tomorrow? What are we going to do? And maybe change it for tomorrow and have an agreement, so that the important thing here is that you're having conversations about learning with your children. One of the biggest factors in student success at school, and what we want to think about, what do we take away after COVID-19 into post-COVID-19, is actually the value of learning and conversations about learning. That is one of the biggest factors in student success at school. So while they're at home, the conversations that you are having with your children about learning, and if you can continue that in some way post-COVID-19, even when they come back to school, that'll be one of the biggest things that makes a difference to their success at school in the long term. So it is an opportunity for you to commence those conversations with them, having negotiations with them, and that will stand them in good stead for the future. But look, today, as I said, the main objective for me today would have been that you've had a look at the home learning packs. Hopefully you got to do some of the activities in there. But if you looked at them and you did some reading or you read them a story, I think you made a good start. Let's not panic about the amount of work that you got done today. It's just to know that it's the first day of home learning and you did some learning. And reading is fundamental to everything else. So I'd like to think that, either they read or you read to them, or maybe you took turns. Either way, any of those would have been a good start to home learning today. And keep looking at our Facebook post for other updates and ideas. And from tomorrow onwards, you'll be able to go to our website to contact teachers and get other information as well. So look, hope you had a good day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.